Hello, online class integrity. I've got some suggestions. A good place to start is to realize that there are many websites out there that will gladly take your online class for a fee and pretty much guarantee you an A. So we have to deal with that. Probably more common is that friends will take other friends' tests, or at least help them out. I've had students tell me this happens a lot. So again, what do we do about all of this? Well, here are some strategies. One, you want to probably have a lot of a variety of assessments and a large number of assessments. It's much harder to take someone's class for them if it's a weekly assignment, say, relative to a midterm and a final. If you're going to give a multiple choice exam online, I aim for a 3-to-1 ratio between test bank questions and questions asked. You probably want to randomize the order of the questions and shuffle the answers. I would only show one question at a time to make it more difficult to print out the exam. Of course, students can still cheat pretty easily oftentimes. This YouTube video is interesting to watch, how to get answers for any homework or test. Essentially, it gives a website where you're basically going to Google the question and it gives you the answer. Students have told me the test banks that the publishers have provided us are essentially available to students, so we should know that. If you're going to give essay test questions, I think you want to have a lot of different tests available, because clearly it's quite easy to print out those and pass them along. So, the more versions of the test you can give, the more it dilutes the benefit of passing those questions along. In general, for essays, turnitin.com would be your friend. I would aim for open book exams whenever possible online. A closed book exam seems to me only hurts the very honest students. And it probably turns otherwise honest students into cheaters because they feel compelled to cheat because they believe everyone else is cheating. There are apparently some keystroke recognition software out there that might be good. I've never used it, but I'm a little bit skeptical. This quacking is my phone. So, I don't know. Are we really going to monitor this way? I can't see myself going to court, so to speak, and claiming a student didn't type based on the keystroke pattern. But there's that to look into. More compelling for me is this Proctorio software that is within Canvas. Looks very impressive. Lots of options, and it seems like it might work very well. I've never used it, but I did watch this 17-minute video, and again, quite impressed with it. So I don't know if you can cut and paste this, but there is the URL for the video, or I got this from Judy Baker, and again, looks really, really good. That is only available for fully online courses, however. The main strategy I use to combat this is I have comprehensive face-to-face final exams where I check IDs very carefully. The online sites that we mentioned earlier will not do face-to-face exams. I make them pass the exam to pass the class. There are pros and cons, as with everything. One of the difficulties here is it's just kind of a pain to. The students have to find proctors. I have to verify them independently. I have to keep track of all this. And for the students, it's a bit of a pain also to have to do all that and then go somewhere to take the test. But for me, the gains in integrity are well worth the costs, and here's why. Here are just a few examples of students from the past 2 years I've had. And there are more I could have picked out. I just chose some. These are the online quizzes, and this is the face-to-face final exam score. So this person had 99% on the quizzes, 34% on the final exam, did not pass the class. None of these people passed the class because none of them knew much. For the final exam, anyone walking off the street should get about 20%, I think, just because there are some pretty easy questions. But these students clearly had big gaps between their quiz scores and their final exam scores. Much too big than a bad day would account for. This would be like Steph Curry. Steph Curry can miss some shots, but he's not going to forget how to dribble. This person had 103% A+ student because I give some extra credit, and maybe he knew his name. He didn't know a whole lot, and deservedly did not pass the class. It would have been an A+. Instead, he didn't pass the class. So this is why whenever I grade, I always feel like, okay, the students are getting the grade they deserve. If you want to know more about this particular strategy, please email me. There I am. I've streamlined the process so I can give you some good strategies. Also, Foothill Global Access. So let me take you there and show you what they will do. So if we go to Foothill Global Access, down here, there we are. Let's go. And then go down to Faculty Resources and Academic Integrity. And boom, you've got a whole bunch of stuff to look at. All right, so in the end, none of this is mandatory. We just hope that you give it some thought and do what you think is best. Thank you for listening.